Sorry that I keep messing with my hair so much. Ugh. Hey everyone, it's Casey here. And so I'm finally kind of getting around to answering some of your questions. So someone asked how to deal with being stuck in the middle of your two best friends' relationship. Oh, well, yes, I know how it goes. It's tough because I've been in a very similar situation. The thing is, even though you're stuck in the middle and you are best friends with both of them, it's not your responsibility to fix their problems or I don't know, meddle in their relationship. Granted, you have relationships with both of them, of course, and I'm sure you can still hang out, all three of you together, and it's not weird or whatever. But I don't think you should ever be like stuck, because that if they're making you feel that way, that's not very nice, and not. I don't know. I guess how I would deal with it is, maybe you give them little snippets of your opinion and advice as needed. But if it gets to a point where they're like constantly asking you to fix things and to get in the middle of it, you just have to put your foot down and say, hey, yo, this ain't my business here. Find a relationship counselor or something. I don't know. I'm just kind of stretching there a little bit, but I don't know. You should still be able to manage a friendship with them. Okay, so someone asked about thoughts about, I guess, basically age differences in dating. Maybe like a senior high school girl dating a freshman high school boy, and how to make it work. And then also, could it work when the girl leaves for college in another state? Okay. Well, as you may have known, I've been in 2 different long-term, long-distance relationships. It's tough. It is very tough. I maybe can go into that in another video a little bit more. So maybe let's focus more on like the age difference. I know firsthand that age ain't nothing but a number. I've dated boys that were like, let's see, when I was a senior, I dated someone who was a sophomore very briefly, and then when I was my sophomore year of college, I dated someone who was like 5 years older. So I've done both sides. Let me tell you, there's not much difference in maturity from a boy the age of 15 to 25. I will tell you that much. But anyways, when you're a little bit older, I think it's much less noticeable and a little bit easier to deal with when there's a big age difference. In high school, it's tough, I know, because you're mostly, especially in like a bigger high school. I went to a very small high school, so we all knew each other, but in a bigger high school, you're mostly friends with people in your grade from what I've gathered from my friends and just other experiences. So there is going to be like, maybe awkwardness between you and your friends when you have like this freshman boy hanging around and you're like, what is this 14-year-old doing hanging out with us? Of course, hopefully they would never question like your feelings for him, because clearly if you're dating him, you have a lot of feelings for him. If you really love or like hanging out with this person, there really shouldn't be like a big issue with it. You may get teased or whatever. I certainly was teased for dating a guy 2 years younger than me. Believe me, I was teased. But it was fine. It's your personal business. It was my personal business. Like, your true friends won't really like diss you for it, I guess. Or maybe they'll like jokingly tease you, but they shouldn't actually care and like make a big effort to try to break you up or whatever. As far as going to while the older girl goes away to college and the freshman boy is still in high school. This is where, in my opinion, it gets really tricky, because at this point, you're at completely different stages in your life. When you go in your lives, I guess, when someone goes away to college, it's completely different than high school. Like, for the most part, I would say. I don't know, you're gonna have so many new experiences, meet so many new people, you're gonna be overwhelmed with like friends and homework and classes and opportunities and clubs and teams and whatever. And here's this guy, still still in high school. Nothing has changed about his life really, except he went into a higher grade, with mostly the same people. So that's gonna be kind of maybe where it'll be a little messy to explain to him, like, sorry, like, I can't talk very long tonight, I have to do homework, or, oh, there's this like social event I want to go to, and he may be like, well, why can't you Skype with me for longer or whatever. He can't necessarily understand because he's not in college. That is definitely tricky. My senior year, I dated someone who was in college as well for like, that was the guy who I dated for 2 years, like the end of my senior year is when we started dating. He was just a year older than me, but even though we were only 2 years apart, a year apart, we were in completely different stages in our life, so it was tough to balance it because he had a lot heavier workload than I did in school, and so I was like, why can't we talk more? Like, I didn't quite grasp like how different college is than high school. So I don't want to say like yes or no it could work, but it would just take a lot of time and commitment that you may not be willing to put forth if you're trying to grow and try new things at college. But if you really, really, really like this guy, then it will absolutely be worth it. It'll work out, and hopefully he would be understanding about it. But I would say just maybe before you go to college, definitely have the talk. Like are you sure you want to do this? Like, it's going to be hard. You'll have to really make a sacrifice, or I'll have to make sacrifices, yada yada. Just really like communicate everything that both of you want before you go. I'm always for like love. I'm like a kind of a hopeless romantic, but at the same time, like, you really need to experience college in full, and you need to, I don't know, try everything you can, and don't let anyone hold you back. So sorry, that was like a really long explanation, but that was my roundabout way of answering the question. Okay, someone said to talk about my first love. So my first love, well, let's see. I dated this guy Charlie in high school, and who actually, he's been in a couple of my videos. And I told him in high school that I loved him, and it was whatever. It was before I really like knew what love was. And so I feel bad saying that he wasn't really truly my first love because I told him I loved him. He was a great guy, and we're still great friends, and it was a great relationship, but he wasn't really like my first love. So the end of my senior year, I shouldn't say the end, like the middle, I was exploring different colleges that I wanted to attend, and I visited one in Chicago with my dad, and I really ended up liking it, and I met up with a friend who I had only, okay, it's sort of a long story actually. The friend that I met up with, I knew his cousins, but for years he had lived in Australia, and so we were like pen pals basically. And he moved back to the US, and I met him one time, like the beginning of my senior year when he was in town, and that was it, and we still kind of kept in contact, whatever, but then he went to school outside of Chicago, so when I went up there to visit a school, I was like, hey, Ryan is his name, Ryan, I'm in town, like we should hang out. So we hung out, and lo and behold, this tall, sort of Australian, really smart, geeky almost guy who I kind of apparently had a crush on for a few years and didn't realize it. Well, we ended up dating for a little more than 2 years. And he was, I would say, my first true boyfriend. I thought I was gonna marry the kid. I really did. He was a great boyfriend. He sent me flowers every anniversary, like every month anniversary for the first like year of our relationship. Wow, okay, this guy's good. He would send me like teddy bears, and because for a good 6 months we lived states away, and then I went to school, and we were only, an hour and a half away or so, so we would see each other more frequently, like maybe 2 or 3 weekends out of the month, so it was a lot more doable. So we made it work, and I think we were really good together, but he had some control issues that it took me a while to notice, I guess, and like I said, he was kind of like my first my first real boyfriend, and so I didn't really know what to expect. Like when I dated Charlie in high school, I would see him like once a week and we would like go watch a movie, and it was nothing like super serious. And so with Ryan, it was, I don't know, like I would hang out with his family a lot. Like he would talk about marrying me, and like it was a lot more serious. And so it just assumed we would be together forever. And then just little things I would notice, it was, I don't know, habits of an unhealthy relationship. I'm not a fighter, and he would sort of cause fights a lot and didn't trust me, and I'm like, what is there? There's nothing to not trust. Like, I see you fairly frequently. Like, we talk on the phone all the time. Like, what? I've never, like, been unfaithful to a boyfriend. Like, what am I missing here? Why do you not trust me? Why are you trying to control, like, who, you know, writes on my Facebook wall, or who, like, you know. So it took a while, but I finally, like, you know, built up the courage to break up with him. And it was, I'll talk about that in another video, the breakup, because that was one of the most horrible breakups of my life, if not the most horrible. And I learned a lot from him, and we do still keep in touch probably a couple times a year just to kind of catch up and see how each other are doing. But it wasn't all bad. He was a great first boyfriend. I mean, he was very caring and loving, and he was sweet. My parents loved him. There were just, he has other issues that weren't really about me. They were more just about his being in general that kind of translated into our relationship. I think that's the main reason it didn't work out, and unfortunately why I think a lot of his relationships haven't worked out since then. Yeah, that was the very, very long story about my first love. I will be glad to answer more of you guys' questions. Maybe I'll do another video about breakups or something like that very soon. But that was it for now. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you later. Bye!